On today's episode, we discuss how the IBJJF can get their professional level black belts paid.
Being able to breathe is not a fashion statement.
We dive into more listener questions.
On your mark, get set. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the pod. My name is Kenny. I am here today with Matt, Mr. Os Nation himself. Sir, it is episode 79. We are almost to 80. We're pushing through. 100 is on the horizon. All in all, the listener base is growing. We're getting more questions. We're selling gi patches, which we're almost sold out of.
Patches are selling, Kenny.
Dude, patches are. Dude, I'm down to 5.
Dude, hey, I got some still. Hit me up, guys. Yeah, they're selling pretty good. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know if they were gonna sell, and they are, because you guys are awesome. So
I have I've got a kid
guys?
from England that ordered 2 of them today, so I'm shipping those.
Bonjour, dude. I think I was like, you know, like when you first start training Brazilian jiu-jitsu and you have an authentic Brazilian professor.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to understand what the fuck that guy's saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Broken English. But shout out to them because they're actually speaking two languages. So right. We're really the dumb ones. You know what I mean? But it's hard to understand broken English from a Brazilian cat. You know what's worse? A full-on English dude talking. Teaching jiu-jitsu. It's a whole like, what the fuck did that guy just say?
You're like,
so
I know what these words. I just don't know the order that they're coming in.
How are you saying? Like, whoa. All right. It's a little harder.
Well, speaking of the way that things sound, I know that you've got a bone to pick with some voice types. Okay. Why are the toughest dudes in the history of the world, why do they all have shitty voices? Look, Mike Tyson. Would you say he has an intimidating voice? No. I mean, the way that
absolutely not.
If you put that voice on anybody else's body, it's not scary.
Anderson Silva. Would you say he's got an intimidating voice?
Bro, you're Anderson Silva.
Yeah, would you say? Would you say Anderson Silva has an intimidating voice?
No.
Absolutely fucking not. You would not say that. My GOAT, my favorite fighter of all time, GSP. Respect to the performance. Would you think he sound like fucking Kermit the Frog? He sounds like fucking Kermit the Frog. Would you say GSP has an intimidating voice?
No.
Absolutely not.
Even John
Jones doesn't really even have an intimidating voice.
No,
and he's the greatest fighter who ever lived.
His is very like kind of calm, and there's almost a hint of like,
you think of it, what's up, dog? It's nothing like that.
No, it's not. You would think a Rampage voice would come out of like, you're just like, yeah, no.
No, no. Gordon Ryan. You know what I mean? Like,
we already know my favorite meme ever.
You would not say, you would not say he's got an intimidating voice.
No.
And I don't understand. I guess you can't have both. You can't be a badass and have a good voice.
There's something kind of ironic about it, about the people that are in the fight space that should be the most inspirational are the people that you don't want to hear give any speeches. I think it would be amazing to be like at a Gordon Ryan seminar or like have a Gordon Ryan private because of the technique that you're going to learn or the things that he'll catch. Sure. But then it would also be miserable because you have to listen to him talk for 3 hours.
What if you're Mrs. Ryan and this guy's just getting a little freaky in the bedroom and he's just like, that's a good girl. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's my good girl. That's my good girl. Like, what are we doing?
Are you allowed to talk when you're sitting on the cuck saddle?
Oh, dude, we're not going there, dude. Come on, Kenny.
Hey, bro.
Kenny.
Look,
come on.
People have speculated, and I've never heard him say no.
We never say, hey, we don't know, though. We don't know. Okay. A cuck saddle. Like, you think he's replaced it with like a saddle hitch in his room with a, come on, dude.
Well, he's wearing cowboy hats to speak at public events now, so.
Can you bleach your hair and wear a cowboy hat? Obviously you can. I didn't think that was a thing. I thought it was a California Palm Springs thing. Guess not. But I have a bone to pick with a lot of people in this space. Court and Ryan, all you other guys that can kick my ass, we're just joking. It's a comedy podcast. Go ahead and fat shame me. Look, a lot of things are angering me on the internet lately. And the number one thing, and it might be worse than wearing headgear. It might be worse than wearing full gear while you're driving home. The breath strip craze. Everybody thinks it's 2007 or Nelly with a Band-Aid on their eye. Everybody is just wearing these breathing strips. And I'm okay with wearing breathing strips if you're like trying to sleep better or stuff like that. But they're just like going live. Like, hi guys, here's my thoughts on the earth. And they're just like rocking breath strips like it's a part of their everyday gear. Like, oh no, like I left my house without my sunglasses. I got my breath strip on. Like that like completes the look for them. I think it's fucking whack. And people who wear breast strips as a fashion statement are probably the same type of people who don't freaking click paperless billing on their freaking bills. They're just fucking morons. Like, save the earth. You're fucking ruining my eyeballs.
Can I be honest with you? You know why this?
You wear one.
No, well, no. I mean, I've told you that I have them. I would never wear it in public.
Better not, Kenny.
But do you know why it bothers you so much?
Why? Because I can't breathe out my nose?
No, because you're 41. It's right. It's now a part of you. You have entered your 40s. Last year you crept into 40s. You touched. I'm 40 now. Now you're in your 40s. You're not just 40. You're in your 40s.
I'm just an get off my lawn angry old man now.
100%.
That shit pisses me off.
The next thing Matt's going to have is one of those signs in his front, those passive aggressive signs in his front yard that says, "Don't let your dog poop or pee on my lawn."
Yeah. I can never say that because we all heard about the poop cup. You can do whatever you want to my fucking lawn. I fucking earned it. I deserve it.
You're just gonna end up with Phantom Dukes on your fucking lawn in the next.
Oh, snatching guy, fucking dude, just booty cheeks on my fucking grass, fucking butt scooting because he's a guard puller, like he's wiping his ass like my dog does. Yeah, so that bugs me. The breathing strips bugs me. There's like that one video of that real buff dude doing his pre-morning workout routine, and he's all journaling, but he's like on page 1, and I'm like, this motherfucker.
I love the commentary videos where if you watch the time shifts, it's like him going to dive into the pool, and it's like 8:03, and then at 8:07 he hits the water, and he's like, he was in the air for 4 minutes.
The guy was fucking Hang Time, dude. Hang Time, a good show in the 90s. It was about basketball. Reggie Theus was the coach, had a bunch of white kids and one black dude, but he was real big and fat. Good show. Hang Time. Who remembers it? Anyways,
don't.
Kenny's like, I have no idea. That bugs me. Also, that's why jiu-jitsu is the only sport where it's actually not like frowned upon to do the sport. Like, I've seen these videos of people doing surfing. And like, there's all these unwritten rules in surfing, and you can't you can't surf in certain spots because you're not a local, or people are like trying to wish me off the board. First of all, I would drown. Not a good swimmer. I'm a freestyle drowner. So I don't want to, you won't catch me out there. If I'm in the ocean and you can't see my nipples, your boy's in too deep. That's my philosophy on the beach. But, I think that's dumb. What have you seen those videos where guys are like, get out of here?
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, I've done
the ocean is ours. What the fuck?
What's wild about it is that it's like, okay, so if I'm a person that's never surfed before and I want to learn how to surf, I've really got an interest in this. I'm excited about it, right? I go up on my board, I buy my wetsuit, I go out there. I took a couple of lessons, and now I'm going to go try to surf the beach that I live near, right? And somebody's trying to shame me off the beach because I'm not a local. But hey, man, I'm out here trying to learn the thing that you love. Like, wouldn't you want to like share your love and your passion for this thing that you have instead of gatekeeping it? Like, what don't you want surfing to be like better and like bigger and have more money in it and have more companies?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some guy from Hawaii who listens to us, Bonjour, by the way, who's gonna tell us why they don't like it. It's unsafe. Like,
hey man, I'm open ears. I'm open fucking ears, bro.
Spazzy surfers, I guess. Maybe. You know, I don't know.
It's dangerous or something. Who knows, man? But you think like take them under your wing if they suck?
Yeah, I think it's retarded. I'm like, you don't own the ocean, motherfucker.
Right?
What are you doing?
Yeah, well, like, he's a shark.
And that same thing with the. I'm going to say this wrong. Motorcycles, as Kenny says. I don't say motorcycles, right?
You just said it again. Motorcycles.
I can't say the word motorcycle.
He just said it
again. But you can't pass them. You know, you can't. We've already talked about this before. You can't pass them on the road and stuff like that. And like all these like rules, like there's all these unwritten rules with these fun hobbies that dudes want to do. Not in jiu-jitsu. You want to come get choked out by us? We're here for you. So just come get it. We're welcome to anybody who wants to try. So I think that's what sets one of the things that separates jiu-jitsu from all these other hobbies. Like, what's the unwritten rules of pickleball? I cannot wait to hear the unwritten rules of pickleball.
Yeah, it can't be straight.
It can't be heterosexual. That's
heavily frowned upon in pickleball.
I'm not old enough. My mom plays pickleball. She's really, really good. I guess she's like a level 3 something. I don't know if that's good or not.
That sounds like a cult, bro.
Huh?
That sounds like a cult. She's a level 3.
My neighbor plays too. I've been trying to get him to train. He doesn't want to. And he said that like he's a level 3.75. And he's like 36. I'm like, bro. My mom's a 3.5. She's 62. Step your game up, dude. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever try pickleball. As much as the guys want me to try, there's some guys on the team. James Hinkle, we call him the Dink because I guess that's a move in pickleball. That's also a pickleball. That's a move in pickleball. It's dinking, I guess. But I heard dink is also a very racist word too. So I'm referring to pickleball, not the racial slur of dinks. Sorry.
I'm curious as to what that is.
I think it's I don't know.
Don't say it.
I heard it was. I'm not going to say it. Maybe I was wrong.
Oh, I mean, it's not a racial slur. It means dual income, no kids.
Okay.
Which would describe people who play pickleball. It's essentially a married.
Yeah, you ain't making babies if you're playing pickleball, dude.
It's a married couple with no kids. Dink.
You have grandkids. 1, you're not making babies anymore. Or 2, the equipment doesn't line up. You know.
Yeah.
Sword fight.
This doesn't make kids, nor does this.
Scissor hands out. I always see that fucking guy on my fucking algorithm, dude. Shout out to that guy in the jiu-jitsu. Scissor hands out. So what's going on with you, Kenny?
Not much, man. Training this week. I've got this elbow pain. I had somebody that watches a pod hit me up and tell me that I need to set a doctor's appointment and said he had a very similar sounding elbow pain.
That's great advice, dude. Hey.
Yeah. Well, no, because I mean, I've just been ignoring it. Thinking like
BJJ. Hey.
Go to the doctor.
Your elbow hurts? You know what I would recommend? Going to the doctor.
Well,
cool, dude.
He was saying that he thought it was like tennis elbow or something like I thought. And then he was just like, dude, I went to the doctor. It turns out that I have like a broken elbow bone or whatever. Like there's like a chip in there.
Do you remember how you hurt it though?
No.
So there's no exactly, you didn't get like arm barred or there's nothing like you didn't post or anything crazy?
No. Just woke up one day and elbow kind of hurt.
Just living in Turtle, fucking elbows on the ground.
I don't live in Turtle. I rarely turtle at all.
Fucking turtle.
Yeah.
But yeah. So no, it's probably his tennis elbow though, bro.
Yeah.
We should put those guys send us those peptides or.
I know. I've got them in the drawer and I've really thought about starting to pop those.
Should try it.
I bought the needles and everything to do it, so I just need to do it.
But yeah, life is good over here. My wife's grandfather, life is good over here. My wife's grandfather passed away last week. So I'm thinking we need to do an on location podcast next week where I'll be coming to your house on one of these on a Sunday. I'm thinking, Kenny, because I have a lot of family over next weekend. It's going to be hard for me to sit down and do it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we'll have to figure it out. Maybe that'll be a good time for me to dunk myself. Finally. Okay. And it'll probably be cold and it'll probably be raining. Great. Fantastic.
This might possibly be the last webcam pod of.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. We're going to, some serious upgrades are happening soon.
Everything's
serious upgrades.
Yeah. Serious upgrades. There will be a whole new look on the Vegas side of things.
Stay tuned. Apparently I posted something yesterday that also Shoei Roll posted too, which is crazy. It was similar. I posted a meme and they have those like tapes, I guess, when the guy calls in, like, my meme was very similar to what the tape said and we like posted at the same time. What a fucking small world. Great minds, dude. Whoever that was, great minds, dude. We think alike.
I feel like Shoei Roll does more of those tapes than they release gis.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. Shoei Roll's a hard gi to get, dude. So you got to know somebody who knows a brother who fucking owes somebody money. They're a tough gi to get. Nice gi. I had one before. I just threw it away. I finally ripped. My lapels ripped on it. So I was like, all right, this thing's toast. But I remember I first started jiu-jitsu as a blue belt and I was like, Poncho, I really want a Shoei Roll. I was like, but all I got is $200 to spend. He's like, okay, give me the 200. I'll bring you back a gi. He's like, I can't guarantee you what it looks like though. Like blind bag. I feel like my daughter when she opens up these little squishy things.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck I was going to get. He brings me back a gi. It was black, thank God. But it had camo up on the side.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't IBJJF legal. I was like, damn, I was going to wear this to the tournament. I was wearing this to Pans. And then I ended up having to like freaking buy another gi. A cheaper one for Pans, and then I have my nice Shoei Roll, so I ended up having two. Now I have a real bad problem with these, but it's a good problem to have.
I agree. That's not the only people that are complaining
Korean
about are the gi
week,
problem.
I just watched. This is, I swear to God, end quote. I just every load, I just can't get past these gis. I'm just in the living room like.
The Homer Simpson backing into the bush.
I just like, yeah, he was frustrated. Like I said, we're trying to clean this house because family's coming over. I love you, honey. She was going through it last week. Poor girl. We wanted to talk a little bit about expanding on what we were talking about last week, right? A little bit.
What specifically?
Was it like the Gordon, not the UFC and the
oh yeah. Oh, so as far as like paying these athletes, yeah, I got a little rant that I was thinking about for this. So as far as to touch back on last week, you had mentioned Claudia Gadelia mentioned that at a professional level, i.e. black belt, these athletes should be being paid. They shouldn't be paying for competitions. You know, you're a professional, but you're essentially being treated like an amateur, and that something needs to change in the sport. And, you know, people have speculated maybe they need to do like a sit out, you know what I mean? Where people just sit the whole season out and they just kind of boycott. And, you know, it's wild when you have something like that you would think like, oh, this is good for the sport as a whole, because everybody's constantly talking about bringing more money into the sport. And here we have the biggest governing body that makes the most amount of money, period, in the sport. And you've got apologists for them. So it's like, hey, man, IBJJF could absolutely pay their professional or their black belts to compete. And then you just hear people like making excuses as to why IBJJF shouldn't have to or shouldn't, et cetera. And it's wild to me that it's like, here's an opportunity for the sport to grow into something more legitimate. And you guys are saying like, no. And then like the equivalent we brought that would be like not even the Lakers, but like that would be like the NBA stating like, hey, LeBron, you need to pay us money to play this week. You know? And I wanted to kind of touch on how this could happen. Like how IBJJF could make something and probably actually make more profit from just paying some of these athletes. Now, I don't think that every IBJJF competition should be paying athletes or paying black belts, I should say. What I mean by that is I don't think like the San Diego Open, which is hosted in a gym at a community college, needs to have a professional like black belt level portion of what I'm going to describe here shortly. But any of the major events, the Brasileiros, Pans, Worlds, Euros, American Nationals, the big tournaments. And maybe this is an opportunity to make some more of these big tournaments. I'd say every other month at minimum. So every 2 months, if not once a month, you have one of these big tournaments. Every other athlete competes at the tournament like normal throughout the week. Their daytime slots, the 2 p.m. on a Thursday, etc., right? You hold the black belts for Friday night. Or you have because I know that sometimes there can be a lot of black belts competing. So let's say you hold the top 16 of each division for Friday night. Or let's say top eight of each division for Friday night. Because essentially what I'd like to see is a one match. Like not 3 mats going on at the same time kind of a thing. Now we have a top 8 for each weight division on a Friday night, separate from the rest of the competition, but still at the same venue and everything else. They spend a little more time for Friday afternoon to prep for Friday night. So we've got a fight to win styled look. We've got some video screens. We've got walkout music. We've got lighting. And you charge a small cover to come see the pros. You know, right. Doesn't have to be $50, $100. They don't charge for normal entry period. So we charge a small cover. Now you're recouping some money. Now you've got a production that you can get some sponsorship dollars behind. They already have sponsors, you know, the little mat side kind of A-frame advertisements. Yeah. See, hey man, this is the black belt divisions. This is the you know, the big boys. So let's get some sponsorship dollars into this for this particular production that's going to be broadcast. We step the fuck away from flow because
please.
Flow is hurting you more than it's helping you. I promise you that. You're putting jiu-jitsu behind a paywall. It needs to be more accessible. If you just put some money into your production quality, stop using webcams. At least for the pro matches, you know what I mean? Let's get some actual camera crew there and whatnot. And let's get a production team going. And let's bring the black belt, you know, American Nationals event, the black belt Brasileiros, the black belt Euros. Let's bring that into the 21st century production quality. And you have, you know, your guys basically fight for the top spot. And the winner gets money. You know what I mean? Everybody gets show money for this, only for these large, again, not for the opens, but just for this. Everybody gets a small amount of show money, but it's the winner gets a big pot. And then you also have fight bonuses. So a couple of things are going to happen. One, people always talk about how jiu-jitsu, specifically jiu-jitsu in the gi, is boring to watch. I think at the black belt level, that's not really the case. Two, you put bonus win money behind it, like finish of the night kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. Now you've got guys that are going for it, where they're not. Let's like, okay, if I'm already up on points, do I really want to sacrifice this right now, or am I in an advantageous position right now to where I can attempt a submission that I might have some success with, and if I botch the submission, I still am going to maintain my position and not lose it and not get, you know, no chance of really losing. You know what I mean? Like I might go for it at that point versus just stalemating and taking the points and winning on that, because I'm not getting any extra bonus money for the points. But if I actually pull the submission off here in the final seconds, I might get some bonus money. And then there's a prize pool at the end. So these guys are going to, fight harder because there's more money, or there's actually money involved. They're going to because we're talking at least every other month, there's more chances to win money. You do, we actually lock down a season, like a schedule from this date to this date is when the season starts, season ends. You have a season winner as well on top of your event winners. And then because we've got some production quality behind it and it's being broadcast like at a primetime slot. Now you've got these athletes that are going to put on more of a show because they're going to be excited because there's actually some hype behind them. And you start to build, you give it the UFC treatment. You start to build these profiles on these athletes and these teams that they come from.
You're becoming an IBJJF pro.
Exactly. It's like IBJJF makes money. They are a multi-million-dollar organization and they can put some money behind the athletes and they can make even more money. They can make themselves the premier organization because I feel like they have more reach and more power overall in the jiu-jitsu community than like an ADCC does, even though there's a lot of money behind ADCC. I feel like IBJJF has the potential to be way bigger than that just because of the influence they have on the sport. And they can really make some changes to the world of jiu-jitsu and in way of getting their professional level athletes paid.
If you Google IBJJF, they make $10 million a year.
Right.
Right? So you could definitely pay these guys. I believe the season thing, like you said, is perfect. Like you have to have a start season and a season. You have to have that. And I personally would, if you're in the top 10 in the world, you're on a monthly retainer. This is how I do it. Not a lot, but guess what? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu people don't need a lot. You're on a monthly retainer where you're making $2,500 a month. Bam. That's not a lot of money, but enough money to, for the guy who's training every day, they definitely appreciate that. If you're in the top 10, you're getting $2,500 a month. Plus, once you make the tournament and you podium, you get certain prizes plus incentives for finishes. So if you win Worlds, you get up to $20,000. But if you win Worlds and you just won by a couple of advantages, you might only get $15K. You know what I mean? But depending on your sub rate, which will make guys chase more, will make guys be more of stalling out W's, especially in the big divisions. Like
it's got to be more than 20 grand.
Stall out W's. Let them chase. I think paying them and paying the top 10 will make guys want to fight. And how do you become a top 10 athlete? You have to compete and gain points. So they're going to be competing in all your events because they want to stay on that retainer. When the season's over, obviously the money stops. And there'll be, you might next year be put in the top 10 off your finishing rank next year, but they're not going to pay you when the season's over. But like during the season, if you're in the top 10, which that jumps all the time, you get paid. And I feel like that would basically you're creating a league. Right. You're creating a league. You're creating excitement. You're creating excitement for the gi. And I think that would be fucking beautiful.
What's wild about that too is they already have the foundation for all of this. It's just like, it's like you've got 80% of this done. You just got to finish the last 20% off. You really just got to have somebody with a little bit of a creative mind come in and take what you have existing and really just kind of restructure the adult level black belt divisions and create this. And
it's going to help the athletes, Kenny, because you could say you never won a world title, but you wore number 8 in the world at one time. You could say, just like the crappiest guy in the NBA, I was an NBA player.
Right.
I was an IBJJF pro. I was an IBJJF pro. So you're rewarding guys for making in the top 10, which is going to bring so much more excitement to the athlete to imagine a seminar, former IBJJF pro, ADCC here, boom, boom, boom. That all will matter because a lot of the guys, it's the same goals from the same guys.
To your credit.
And the guys that are 7, 8, 9, they don't get the mystique, even though they're damn good.
Right.
But just to say you're an IBJJF pro would be fucking awesome.
To your credit, Nate Diaz, never been a champion in the UFC. When he was at his peak after the Conor thing, was commanding as big amount of money as anybody else that's in the sport, with the exception of maybe Conor. You know what I mean? that man was known across the world and was never a champion. And he
is more famous than Bilal Muhammad.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Hands down. Not even close. And I think that could be something that you could do to develop. Like you would think that as the governing body of jiu-jitsu, I guess it's technically the unofficial governing body of jiu-jitsu, that you would want to help build the careers of these athletes that compete in your sport and give them some longevity outside of just competing in the sport. You know what I mean? And again, that just the more recognizable the names in your sport are, the more recognizable your sport becomes, the more recognizable your organization becomes. You know what I mean? And I think that you see that a lot with Dana too. He invests a lot into these like lower level MMA events. He doesn't look at them like competition because the UFC has no real like competition. But all these other events, he just basically treats them like feeder leagues. But he if you have Fight Pass, he's got XFC and whatever these smaller organizations are. They're all broadcast on Fight Pass. He wants these people to get their shine. He wants these athletes to get a presence going and get some fan base behind them. So when they do reach the UFC level, they're not coming in being unknown, and they've already got some fan presence behind them. And he was able to help, facilitate that by having these lower organizations broadcast on his network. And I think
IBJJF is so big on gi jiu-jitsu.
Right.
They're the biggest organization. They do no gi also, but they're so like gi focused. Do you think if they just paid just the gi athletes, do you think no gi athletes would don the pajamas just to try to make it into that top 10? I mean, like there's a lot of things that they could do. Say we don't pay no gi. If you want to get paid no gi, you got to go CJI, you got to go PGF, right. You got to go.
There's already stuff
ADCC.
For you.
There's stuff there that you can make money. If you want to be a gi athlete and get paid, right. IBJJF Pro is where you want to be.
Well, I think it's got to be more than 20K prize. If you win an EBI, which is not a large,
but that's why the retainer
event,
though. That's why you're on the retainer. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to set that retainer to price if you're in the top 10. The guy who's like the greats are always going to be in the top 10. They're going to be making their freaking right. Whatever. Maybe theirs is different. Maybe it's like, hey, you want me to compete for IBJJF? You're going to have to pay me $6,000 a month.
Right. Well,
and that's a deal they can work on. Like UFC, we don't know what they pay their athletes. They say what they pay their athletes, but we really don't know what they pay their athletes. And that's been well documented that guys are getting money. They're getting broke off under the table from Dana just because, like, so we don't know we know what the public sees, and what they actually get is completely different. So, a guy who's a world-class guy, like Rotolo's are in the gi. You guys making 2,500? Like, yeah, we are, but really they're not. They're making like 10K a month. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what they would pay, but
yeah, and that's the thing too, is it's not okay. So we said that the IBJJF makes 10 to 12 million a year, right? If you build this, what we're talking about, the IBJJF will grow in popularity. People will. You see how ADCC was just ADCC, every 2 years for the longest time, right? For 20 plus years. A couple of years ago, they started doing ADCC Opens. ADCC Open is one of the largest, fastest growing tournaments out there for no-gi, right? People are flying across the country to go compete in ADCC Opens, which in my opinion, right now, they hold no real value. You know what I mean? It's just a tournament. Being an ADCC Open winner, it's like winning an IBJJF Open. Like, to me, it doesn't have, it's cool. It's a medal.
We see people putting it on their seminars though.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that, like, if the IBJJF invests this money and gets the community behind it the way that the community's behind ADCC, you have a shot at making more money for the IBJJF. You know what I mean? It becomes the premier tournament of the jiu-jitsu world, and then you get the more advertising dollars behind it. It goes from a $10 to $12 million a year organization to, $50 to $100 million a year organization. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then you've got
and we're not saying pay
all
masters
the
athletes.
stuff that comes with it. The celebrity of being a referee.
Like we're not asking like every
UFC,
division to
you know
get
what I mean?
paid.
Like
we're not.
people,
We're just saying
we've never
the
seen
top 10
Herb
women
Dean fight.
in the top 10.
But anybody that's a fight fan knows who Herb Dean is.
Should be getting money. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right. So it's just like, there's a lot that you could build around this sport still.
Because we had guys say, like Jeff Luffman, listener to the pod, all these guys saying like, oh, you can't pay. No one wants to watch jiu-jitsu. It's not watchable on TV. You don't need to with IBJJF or these tournaments. The athletes, the white belts, the blue belts, the masters, all the competitors are funding this thing monthly.
Right.
With our $150, $120 registration fees. You know what I mean? Like we're funding these pros.
Right. And that's the thing is that, again, you make a production that people will watch, and you make jiu-jitsu watchable, the money will come. So there's already money there, but that's what I'm saying is it's not going to be like a money dump for IBJJF to do this. It's not going to be a loss. You're going to have to put some money into it in the beginning, but I promise you the sponsorship dollars will come because there will be something there. I think people are hungry for jiu-jitsu content right now. And you see all these highlights, these clips and things like that get posted. That's the thing too, is like IBJJF needs a better social media presence. You guys have access to the premier athletes all over the world constantly. You know what I mean? There's multiple IBJJF tournaments every weekend. You need to have an army of camera crews at these events and just pushing jiu-jitsu clips, high quality jiu-jitsu clips, just, crazy finishes, crazy, sweeps, just wild stuff that happen every single week in IBJJF tournaments, and just flood your feed with these like 15 to 20 second wild highlight clips. And you'll just become
your online presence should have like a IBJJF champion instructionals from people. Like, why is Bernardo Ferreira, shout out to him, and BJJ Fanatics for being the place you go to do your demo? But why can't IBJJF have their own little setup where their champions are doing this and they're selling their product and people are getting a cut? Like, there's so much, they could make so much money. They're not going to, though, because everything is cush and they're chilling. Why would they just rock the boat? It's been a sweet strategy so far. That's why, a sit out or a strike would be how you could get this to happen. But I think even if that happened, I think in the end, like you said, I think they would be reaping the rewards, because if you look at jiu-jitsu 10 years ago when Metamoris, when Hoyler versus Eddie, and they fought for the second time, jiu-jitsu was so popular. I was a white belt. No, was I a white belt? Oh, no. This was longer than 10 years ago. So I remember watching it and being like, oh my God, this is huge. This is so great. Jiu-jitsu is so popular right now. It's on fire. All these years later, it's way bigger than that. I couldn't even imagine. Imagine what it's going to be like in 5-10 more years.
Right.
When we were talking about, remember when we were talking about PGF and this and that? Now look at it. Like, who knows,
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think anytime we go to these events like that, like the PGFs and stuff like that, I feel like we're sitting in history at that moment, Like, I feel like that there's some serious groundwork that's being laid. And I think that you have these like free thinkers like Brandon McCaffrey that really, I think a lot of this work he's doing just for the love of jiu-jitsu. Like, yeah, I know that there's money in it, but I don't think that's his motivating factor. Like, I really think he just wants to bring more shine to the sport, to the athletes, and to really build something special that is going to help the sport grow and maintain longevity, and become more of a mainstream and more palatable, sport to watch. So,
and this is unrelated to BMAC and unrelated to PGF, so let's not get that twisted. But I was talking to somebody who is involved in one of these organizations, and they were saying that they're working on a whole platform where they're going to have multi-week seasons and like trying to get on a network and all this crazy stuff. Like, jiu-jitsu's coming, guys. Okay. And not like us. Okay. It's like jiu-jitsu's coming, and get on board, because these next 5 years are going to be
a full roper.
Insane.
Yeah. The next 5 years are going to be a four. They're going to be a 4-roper.
Rope and a half over here, baby. We're not going to talk about that. I already told myself. Not until I get a Blue Chew sponsor. Okay.
We got some questions to dive into.
Not because I need a Blue Chew sponsor, because sometimes you just want to really show off.
This segment not brought to you by Blue Chew.
Not brought to you by Blue Chew.
Yet.
Because we don't need it over here. Because we're still getting it done. But sometimes you just want to give her a little extra. All right.
SBG Gordino Gostoso. Fuck, man.
Bonjour.
Thoughts on leaving a gym in search of more and the best way to do it?
Thoughts on leaving your gym? It depends on your loyalty to your professor. Depends on if you're the biggest fish in a little pond. I get it. Maybe you want to go somewhere bigger. If you're just, it's because you have friends there and you don't want to, like, if it's like a rival gym down the street, like you're going to create problems. There's going to be conflict there. But you only got one life. You only got 2 sets of knees. Trust me. You might as well, do what's best for you. If the repercussions of leaving doesn't really affect you that much, if you feel like the bridges that you're going to burn are not worth leaving, then I would stay.
This is next question kind of like relates to this first one, which is wild that they just came in back to back like this. This is from Hella Matt. Hell yeah. Hella Matt. Best way to assimilate into a new gym.
Well, you're going to want to go to the kids class, find the moms. No, I'm just joking. Best way to assimilate, the best way to like get yourself into a new gym is just by showing up and hanging out after class.
I'd say
introducing yourself, being a human, being a human being. Don't be autistic and just fucking introverted. Like be like helpful, depending on what your belt is. If you're a white belt, then just be a sponge and try to learn and ask questions. Everybody's cool in jiu-jitsu. That's the one thing I've been trying to tell. I've been saying this since we started saying is like, there's not many douchebags. I'm saying many. I said there was none. Everybody got pissed. There's not many douchebags in jiu-jitsu. Ask questions. People will help you.
What do guys that love jiu-jitsu love?
Other than jiu-jitsu, they saw on the internet.
when you talk about jiu-jitsu with them, right? So if you're rolling with somebody and you're the new guy and he does something, let's say you're not even just a white belt, but the guy you're rolling with pulls some move off, you've never seen it before, it's never worked on you before, it worked this time, he landed it, and you're just like kind of blown away by it. Don't stay quiet about that. After class, go up and ask him. You know what I mean? One, he's absolutely going to talk to you about it. He's like, oh shit, this guy likes my sweep, you know?
Mm-hmm.
2, you might have a conversation and develop a friendship, or like, hey, let's go over this corner real quick. Since class is already over, like, I'll show you exactly what I did. This is what you did. This is how I caught you. Oh, you know what I mean? And now you've built a little connection with that guy. And then the next class, you build more of a connection with him. You do that to somebody else. And before you know it, you're just a part of the crew. You're another one of the guys on the mat. You're going to land something on one of them, and they're going to do the same thing and ask you how, because everybody likes that kind of outside influence. When a new guy comes to the gym, there's a little intimidation factor at first, like, oh, fuck, you know, what's this guy going to be like? Is he a monster? Is he just going to smoke everybody? Or, you know, I mean, you kind of pace him up and see where he falls in like the pecking order of the gym. And then you kind of like, you bring him into your crew. Everybody likes those new looks on jiu-jitsu. It's like, oh, like, so we have a guy in my gym right now that came from a Carlson Gracie gym, and great jiu-jitsu, totally different style of jiu-jitsu than we're normally seeing in our gym. And it's been rad to get this, just like, it's like going to an open mat, but you've got until he kind of becomes like a part of the fabric of the gym, until he's like, you know, he's there for like a year and you've just, his style is kind of worked into everybody else's game and vice versa. Right now, he's like this new thing that you can try stuff on, and not like, if I try this pass with one of the guys that I go against all the time, and at this point he's just learned my game and there's no way I'm able to get this pass on him. Let me try this on the new guy and see if it works. Oh, it does work? Okay, then I might have some success with this. Like, he doesn't know your game the way that everybody else in the gym does. So,
right. Agreed. This is a jiu-jitsu hack, guys. If you want to make instant friends in jiu-jitsu, say you don't have any friends and you want to make an instant friend. Now, this might even work for ladies. All you got to do, because everybody who is in jiu-jitsu watches reels, watches YouTube clips of moves, and they try to do them in practice. Would you agree, Kenny?
Yeah.
Yeah. You go to anybody, you just go up to the random person that you want to become friends with, and you be like, hey, can I try something real quick? That's all you got to say. And that other person will be like, sure.
Yeah.
And then you tell him the position you want him to get in. He tries the move. You try the move on him, whether it works or not. I guarantee you that next person that you tried that move on will go, you know what I like to do? And he'll show you what he likes to do from that spot.
Right.
And then, cool, man, thanks. Go about and then go on your day. That night, find their social media, send them a reel of that kind of similar type of move. And next thing you know, you guys are sending shit back and forth of moves. You just created instant friends. I've never tried that with a female. That might work too. That might be a purple belt hack. I'm not sure. But that is how you make friends in jiu-jitsu. Instantly make friends in jiu-jitsu.
Ecantu, what are your thoughts on nicotine pouches during training? I don't know anybody that uses them during training. That's wild. I mean, I guess if you want to choke on something, that seems crazy dangerous.
I'm not a smoker. I've
like a Zen
cigarette,
like a Zen like a Zen pouch.
Oh yeah, no, I've never. BioPro Plus.
Does anybody in your gym have Zen pouches?
Know. I'm not sure.
It seems like you put it under your lip like you would like a
like the dip.
Yeah, but it doesn't have like the spit aspect of dip.
Man, I don't know. I feel like you choke on it.
That's what. Yeah, I think that seems a little dangerous. That's wild.
I don't even like rolling with the mouthpiece. Some people wear mouthpieces. I do not wear mouthpiece.
No, I like being able to breathe.
Have I like almost chopped my tongue off once from a knee? Yeah, have. But I like clacked my teeth? Yes. I just don't. I'm not. I like to breathe.
Yeah, I'm same. Davis _MD. What is your walkout song?
It changes over and over. I feel like I would have to do something maybe kind of funny, but because of like who I am. But then people who, if you really know who I am, there's nothing funny about my jiu-jitsu at all. So I would say I might do some like vintage wrestling intro, dude. It's my shot, dude. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe some old school like DMX or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know. It changes all the time.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's one of those things where it's just like,
are you going metal or are you going hip hop?
That's exactly what I'm kind of going to say is like the walkout music should be for me to hype myself up before I walk out there, but in the same regard, you want people to connect with you. So if I pick some like obscure, crazy, like deathcore song, there might be 7 people.
Like, who's this racist?
Yeah, it's just like, there's like a handful of people that will actually connect with it, and everybody else will be like, oh my God, you know what I mean? It's like you're also trying to win the crowd over at the same time, you know what I mean? So you got to pick something that people are going to connect with so that you've got some, screaming on your side in the middle of the fight.
I would not play stuff that's trendy. I would not play something that like there's no way you would get me coming out to any Kendrick Lamar right now. Period.
No.
Not happening. Because the 7 people before you just did. You know what I mean? I'm not. I would try to be a standalone song. It's the only time you heard it the whole night would be that. So it'd definitely be something probably over 10 years old that people forgot about.
Okay, that's fair. Ghost _Rider 85. Are stripes pointless for adult students?
We talked about this many times. No, they're not. I love stripes. I think they're good. I think they're good for letting people know where they're at, letting the professor know where you're at. And they definitely mean something at black belt because that means how degrees and how old you're actually getting in the game. So I think stripes are important. If your school doesn't do stripes, that's fine also. But I think if I ever had a school, I would definitely be doing stripes.
I think for me, it feels good when you get a stripe, but in the same regard, I know it's literally just like a measurement of every 6 months. You know what I mean? As long as you're training consistently. And I think that some people will, I'm only speaking outside of the black belt world. I think some people put too much emphasis on the weight behind stripes. You know, if I'm a 1-stripe blue belt and you're a 3-stripe blue belt, there's no saying that my 1-stripe blue belt isn't going to beat you. You know what I mean? Just because you have more stripes on your belt doesn't necessarily mean that you're better. Right. So, you know, it's
4-stripe purple, a 4-stripe purple, and a 0-stripe purple.
Yeah, clearly there's probably a difference, but there also is a chance that there might not be. It's not a definitive absolute, you know? So, but at the same time, like I try not to put too much weight on it from like you know, when people put too much, I'm blanking on the word right now. Like they stress something too much. There's too much, thought goes into something, and all of a sudden it just like kind of consumes them. You know what I mean? It's just like,
right.
Am I going to get a stripe this time? Like, or I'm at 3 stripes. Am I going to get my belt next promotion, or am I going to get a 4th stripe? Right. You know, I got a 4th stripe. Does that mean that next one, you know what I mean? Like some people assume that like, you know, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 stripes next belt, or sometimes it's 1, 2, 3 stripes next belt if you're on the more advanced side.
Yeah, you never know, because I don't have any stripes on my blue.
Right. Yeah.
0 stripes.
So, you know, I think people, they put too much emphasis on it, and it can kind of like, you go into a belt promotion and then all of a sudden you're assuming that like, oh, I got 3 stripes, I'm probably going to get my next belt here. And you don't. Now you're bummed, instead of celebrating the fact that you got another stripe, that you're still in the game, and that maybe some other people around you got promoted, like your training partners. Like you should be celebrating, not bummed out. And I think that's, you know, something we place on ourselves.
People quit jiu-jitsu every day, and you never see them again. Just be thankful that you're there again rolling.
Yeah.
And yeah, tape is cool, but it's not the end of the world.
Good for the soul, BJJ. What's the hardest thing to balance since you started the podcast?
Schedules.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, we're both 9 to 5 workers. We both have real jobs. We love doing this. What's passionate about this, but like making the stuff, like making the content, the promotion of the stuff throughout the week, the scheduling clips, like it just doesn't end after this.
Right.
Kenny's got to go home and edit, and then Kenny's got to render it, and then he sends it to me, and then I look for some catchy reel clips for him to cut, and then we talk about merch, and then we have another group chat where we're talking about what we want to do or where we want to go or what tournaments we want to show up to. It's like it's a real it's a job.
Yeah,
it really is.
I would say that
it's a fun one, but
my personality trait is to be obsessive over things. So learning to not be so obsessed with the podcast, and like, I mean, the first like few months nonstop, I was refreshing like every hour to see like how many listeners we've got, like, you know, like just all the little things, like, oh shit, this episode's up to, you know, this now, like, damn, in the last hour we got this many downloads, like those little things, you know, because like in the beginning you're starting out fresh, you don't know, and it's really easy to see like an upward rise in the beginning, you know what I mean? Like it's like when you're first taking off, you're starting at 0, so like your base level is so low, it's like any engagement you get is going to be very noticeable. Now we're at the point where, you know, it's not tapering, it's still growing. It's just, but since we've been on the same trajectory for so long that it's not really changing. It's just continually steady growing. So I don't check those things the way that I used to. But in the beginning, it was a lot of like, am I ignoring my wife because I'm constantly on my phone checking to see if we got more downloads? You know what I mean? Like, am I, how far are we away from, you know, monetization on YouTube? Like, it was constantly a lot of just like numbers. And what am I ignoring? I knew that when we were starting the podcast that there was going to be things, because my time is so limited at this point, that I had to cut out some extracurricular activity that I was doing before, and to make room for the pod and the time that the pod takes in my life. Because I don't want to sacrifice my time with my family for the pod, if that makes sense. And we've done that. I mean, we've gone to Vegas for a whole week for PGF. That's time. That's a week away from our family, from our kids, from our beds. So, there's definitely been some sacrifices, but it's just making sure that ultimately my family is good. And just constant communication with Matt to make sure that we're on the same page, which
I think the balance part of it is our wives are, I don't think we could do this together if we didn't have such supportive wives that help us, who are cool with us, chasing this.
Right.
So, shout out to Wendy, shout out to Corinne for both being very, very supportive of their husbands and letting us, chase this thing. It was cool at the beginning being the new hotness podcast. That was cool. And we're still fairly new. We're not even 2 years in. You know what I mean? Or right. We're just barely. I don't know what we're at. But we're still a very, very beginning level podcast. But I would say now we're kind of past that new hotness, the new podcast in town. We're kind of showing the people oh, these guys aren't going anywhere. Right. And we are kind of we're kind of a staple in the community in the jiu-jitsu podcast space, which I kind of like this position that we're in right now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things to juggle and balance, but I'd say ultimately just making sure that the wives are happy and we're not crossing any boundaries to where we would lose their support, kind of a thing. So.
Yeah. Agreed.
Last question. Austin's adventure. Favorite cardio outside of the mats? I knew exactly where this was going.
Austin, it's that extracurricular, it's that no gi, it's those home ropes, it's that fun time, it's that dirty book adventures over here. Your boy's a sprinter though. When I get my cardio, we run fast and then it's over. Matt Sane Bolt is what they call me over here. Get on the blocks, wait for the gun. Yeah, gold medal. We're out of here, dude.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm choking, but also trying to, yeah. That's it for questions, brother.
Thinking.
Aim for the bushes.
Aim for something. Aim for the bush. Aim for the bushes. My name is Matt at Nation BJJ. This is Kenny at Freak Party BJJ. Follow us on all our socials, the Discord, YouTube, Instagram, especially at BJJ Balance on Instagram. We want 7,000 by December. We're growing every day. Appreciate you guys for that. I'll post it on TikTok. Kenny will not post anything on TikTok. We have one, but he ain't gonna post shit.
Is it still a thing?
TikTok still there, dude. Still
I don't have
there.
the app, and I don't think you can download it anymore.
TikTok's got my best algorithm, dude. Yeah, it's all sad, puppies being saved and shit. It really make me cry if I go to TikTok. The other algos are just fucking done, dude. They're just ruined. The stuff that I have to stitch, my algos are just fucking people saying the most wildest shit. But anyways, yeah, love you guys. See you next week in studio. Os.